This is the Horror Movie Show on hmpod.com, your one-stop shop for all things horrific and horror-related. Read the reviews, frolic in the forum, hem and haw over the horoscopes, and listen mightily to the Horror Movie Show with Mark and Jerry, your horrible hosts.
Howdy folks, Jerry here.
And Mark.
Bringing you our most horrible episode of the Horror Movie Show.
I'll have to agree with that.
Yeah. We can be found at our home base, hmpod.com, and also The Crypt, and iTunes, and Lord knows where else. Probably graveyards. And
We're chiseled on gravestones.
Yeah, or just buried. Half buried with bits of us sticking out of the ground for people to enjoy.
And especially this show.
This episode, we are going to be talking... I'll tell the reason why. Mark and I have suffered greatly for this episode, folks.
Oh, God.
And this is a self-inflicted wound that I inflicted on myself and
poor Mark.
Put upon Mark.
You complain about me and my choices.
Yeah, I know. Mark is the one who usually chooses, the
sci-fi movie.
Octo Shark versus the Maniac Mom or something. Oh my gosh. So I joined a whole slew of Facebook pages devoted to horror, specifically so that I could find out about new movies, old movies, get some expert opinion, because I don't believe, while I'm a movie buff, I am not a horror movie buff. I'm becoming more and more expert, I suppose, as the years go by, but there are people out there who know so much more about this genre than I do.
Sure.
So
I agree.
Yeah, indeed. I know it. No false modesty here. So in one of these groups, somebody had started a thread in which they said, "Oh, all you people do is talk about, the latest releases. You talk about Insidious. You talk about this. You talk about that. You talk about those sparkly vampire Twilight movies. Why don't you get into some real horror? Why don't you get into some real nasty stuff, that's sort of off the grid?" So I thought, well, what is more off the grid than necrophilia? And it turns out that there are quite a few movies that use necrophilia as their starting
plot line.
Yep. So I forced Mark and I to watch a half dozen movies here. There's more out there, believe me, but I sort of randomly picked 6 of them, and we're going to talk about these 6 right now.
Yeah.
And by the end of this episode, you will know that there are highs and there are many, many lows.
And all over the world.
Oh, yes, yeah, they do. However, I noticed that the movies that I randomly selected, the ones that people seem to mention most often, which is what I was keying off, there's mostly German and Japanese.
That's it.
And I don't know if this has something to do with the twisted nature of these nations that gave rise to the hideous war crimes that they committed, half a century ago, or if it's just bad luck or what. But there's several German movies, there's an Italian, and there's a couple of Japanese ones here.
And not only that, they're made on the cheap.
Oh, they're all, yeah, because these are by definition exploitation movies. These are just meant to shock.
I have to admit that the Japanese ones are, for some reason, better produced.
Yeah, well, one of them is. One of them I thought was pretty shoddy, Visitor Q, but I thought In the Realm of the Senses.
I thought Visitor Q was interesting.
I thought it was haphazard. Anyway. I thought it was sloppy. Anyway, we will get to that one. We're going to start by talking about Nekromantik. That's with 2 Ks.
Yes, that in itself.
Sort of funny.
It's like romantic.
That's the most clever thing about it, is the title.
Yeah. It's like, okay, you want to be romantic with dead people. Necromantic.
So let's get the stats out of the way here. It's a 1988 movie out of Germany, directed by Georg Buttgereit. Sorry, I don't speak German. Buttgereit, written by the same guy, and Franz Rodenkirchen. It stars Bernd Daktari Lorenz as Robert Schmatke, and Beatrice Manowski as his girlfriend Betty. And She's
the
a
name.
piece of work.
I love Betty.
Betty Poop. Yeah. So
these guys, it's really, really low budget.
Super.
And almost to the fact where
it looks dirty.
You'd swear that they didn't even take the audio when they shot the video, and
I don't think they
dubbed everything in after the fact.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did. So Nekromantik is about this guy, Robert. He's the main character, and Robert works for a company that cleans up crime scenes.
Yeah.
And evidently, the company he works for is pretty shoddy because he's able to steal corpses pretty much whenever he wants to. And we begin with him bringing home to Betty a really nasty, well-rotted.
Yes, I mean half there, half
corpse.
not.
Oh, it's disgusting.
The ribs are.
One eye is gone, and the other is falling out of its head when they make love to it.
Oh God, and they do.
Oh, and the licking and the kissing of the slimy black corpse.
Not only the eye, they're kissing the eye sockets.
Yeah,
and
sucking it out and pushing it back in with their tongues.
Oh my!
This were amazing tricks you said to me last night. How are you possibly going to talk about these movies, this subject? You know, when you try not to cuss on the show, you try to make the show so that everybody can listen
to it.
But this is obviously a disgusting topic, and people who would engage in this sort of thing are disgusting people with severe mental problems.
Yeah.
But all these movies we talk about, the teenage slasher movies, that is sick. And in this movie, somebody may die now and then, but that isn't the purpose of this movie. The purpose is to enjoy someone who's already dead.
Yes.
So in a lot of ways, these people are saner than, Michael Myers or these other maniacs that are going around murdering people.
For fun.
For fun,
yeah.
Or sexual kicks.
Yeah.
That's worse than being a necrophiliac.
Now,
however,
in the
these
first
are nasty.
One, yeah, in the first one,
which is fair,
found bodies.
But a black comedy.
Yeah.
The first Nekromantik is a comedy.
It is a comedy.
It's over the top,
but I don't
comedy.
find it that funny.
Oh no! But it's so absurd. There's a scene.
Although I laugh.
There's a scene. Yeah, well, you have to, don't you? Otherwise,
you gotta laugh.
Up.
You gotta laugh because you don't want to see that a second time.
No, and also there's one scene where Robert runs in slow motion, sort of dances and skips through a field with real cheery music in the background.
that was really
like it's a Coca-Cola commercial.
That was odd. I couldn't figure out what the director was trying to do.
The whole movie is very odd.
Oh, very odd.
Yeah.
It's like these people that and the banter that they have when they're going to clean up a site.
Yeah.
These are not nice people.
No, and they're bullies, and they're Robert is a tiny little man. In fact, I notice in both Nekromantik and the sequel, which we'll be talking about in a moment, cleverly named Nekromantik 2, the men are very small and the women are very large.
Dominating.
I don't mean big, fat, hulking women. They're taller and in better shape, and the men are all little weedy guys.
Yeah.
Robert, in the first movie especially, is just like this pathetic worm of a man.
Yeah.
And how he even got this girlfriend, I don't know, except that these two monsters found each other.
I like the fact that, when she leaves him, his girlfriend leaves him, she says, she leaves a little message.
Yes.
And basically it says, I'm leaving you, I took the corpse.
Yeah, because he's more of a man than you are, essentially. He's a better lover than you are, Robert. And so by the end, we're going to make this fairly quick. I don't think either of us wants to dwell on each of these horrible movies for too long, with one exception, and we'll get to that. But by the end of this movie, Robert has decided that there's only one thrill left to him, and that is to die.
Yeah.
And so he uses a kitchen knife, a big carving knife, and he stabs himself in the guts
belly
repeatedly, and a fake male organ starts off by showing him having like the most enormous
erection,
the most enormous orgasm
as well
that any man has ever had in the world. And then it goes from being orgasms to blood.
Yeah.
And it's just awful. And at the very end of the movie, he's dead. He's like
buried.
This pathetic worm. He's dead. He's in the grave. And you just see a woman with a shovel.
Yeah.
You know, and so Robert's adventure has not yet ended.
Yes.
So, the Nekromantik... Sorry, did you want to talk about that one specifically?
Oh, hell no.
No, okay.
Necromantik
2 came out 3 years later, 1991. Same director, same writer.
And they both have cameos in this
good for
the
them.
second one.
Good for them. Stars Monica M. She wouldn't give her last name, and I don't blame her. Playing Monica. Mark Reeder, another little weedy German guy. He plays Mark. Beatrice Manofsky reprises her stellar performance as Betty, but only disappointed Betty because somebody stole Robert's corpse before she did. And it's Monica who read about him in the newspapers and decided to dig up this guy who himself enjoyed corpses while he was alive. So I guess she thinks it's romantic. She'll give his corpse the love that he shared with so many other corpses.
Yes, and she has her way with him.
Yeah, so, at the beginning of the movie, Monica is deep into a disgusting, soggy, slimy relationship with Robert's dark green, slimy corpse.
Yeah.
But then she meets a dude, and they start going out, and she can only really enjoy sex with him if he lies underneath her and doesn't move or say anything.
And he's way too hot for her.
Oh, God. Yeah, now, it's said in IMDb that she's got this good-looking boyfriend, Mark. He's not good-looking. He's like a little weedy guy with bad teeth and a big nose.
Maybe he's good for Austrian.
Maybe. Anyway, so she's having this affair with Robert's corpse. and she's having an affair with Mark, and she's sort of hiding bits of the corpse around the apartment. At one point, Mark goes to get some breakfast up after they've spent the night together at her place, and he pulls a plate out which has got Robert's severed, well-rotted genitals on it, and puts it down, and he takes the saran wrap off, and he's inspecting it, and he's not quite sure what it is. Heck it is.
Yeah.
I was fully expecting that he'd cook and eat it.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. That's one of the few horrors that doesn't happen. This one takes itself, unfortunately, more seriously than the first Necromantik.
Yes, and it's also longer.
And much longer, and therefore nowhere near as,
obviously,
if I can say enjoyable, at least watchable.
Yeah, watchable. Obviously, the first one was very low budget and short and became a cult favorite.
Yeah.
Of sorts.
Yeah.
So that he got enough money to make the second one, which was obviously his swan song, hopefully.
Oh, yeah.
Because you don't want another one of these.
No, George should retire, I would say.
But obviously there was some sort of interest in the first movie to allow him to make the second movie.
Yeah. I mean, it's the first one, as I say, it's a hoot. It's so over the top and so ridiculous that I was, sort of grimly laughing through much of it. The second one, I just wanted it to be over. And again, Mark, I apologize for forcing you to watch these terrible movies.
At the end of the second one, there is an interesting thing that she does with her boyfriend. And
go. Oh yeah. She manages, during the act of love, physical love, she manages to remove the boyfriend's head and replace it with Robert's head.
Oh, good one.
Yeah.
I would say that was the climax to the movie, but I don't want to go there.
Yeah, indeed. Oh. Okay, next movie.
And I just did.
You did, indeed. The next movie is a Japanese movie from 2001 called Visitor Q.
Oh, what a weird movie.
Yeah, it's super weird. This movie is like David Lynch if he had like real bad stomach trouble and was drunk the whole time.
Yeah.
That's essentially what it's like.
Again, Japanese, yeah.
Yes, this one's Japanese. The first two were German. This one's Japanese. Directed by Takashi Miike. Written by Itaru Era. It stars, I'll just give you the bare, well, it is only bare bones. There's only really 5 characters in it. Kenichi Endo plays the father. Shungiku Uchida plays the mother. Jun Muto plays a most unpleasant son. Fujiko plays the daughter. And Kazushi Watanabe plays the visitor. Movie begins with dad and daughter. The daughter has left home and she's a prostitute. And the movie begins with the father and daughter having sex.
Yes.
Oh, charming beginning to any movie.
And she makes him pay.
Oh, yeah.
100,000, whatever.
Yeah, well, the very first line in the movie is her saying, off camera, "Have you ever made love to your daughter?" And the dad pretends like, "Oh, stop saying such things. Don't say such things." We don't know that they're father and daughter at that point. We just think she's playing some kinky game.
Yeah.
I had to, once the movie was over, I had to go back to the beginning and check, and yes, it is the father and daughter. And it's really the only time that you see the father and daughter together is at the very beginning. This family takes the award for the most horrible family in all of Asia.
Oh, the son beats his mother
Regularly.
The mother is a sex trade.
Well, she's a prostitute,
drug addict,
so that she can make money to buy heroin.
Yes.
Yeah.
The father used to be a television reporter.
He's a disgraced TV reporter.
When he approaches some guys who end up shoving his microphone up his anus. and humiliating him.
Yeah.
So
he's mental. He's ruined.
He's trying to do another documentary on these terrible violence and sex things of youth.
Well, specifically the bullies who are after his horrible son.
Who is getting beat by... Yeah. So his son's being beat by bullies.
Yeah.
His son is beating his mother.
Yeah.
He is...
The daughter's a prostitute off in the big city, and the dad is crazy as a bed bug.
Oh, and he ends up killing somebody. Now, who does he end up killing?
Oh, well, let's wait on that. The visitor, Q.
Oh, yeah.
The visitor. Now, he is tailing the father for some reason, and he just keeps hitting him in the head with rocks and stuff.
Big rocks.
Big
Not
big
throwing it,
cobblestone.
not throwing them, but smacking him.
Like through a window, just smashing a big rock against the father's head. And the father is so addled by this that he brings the guy home. He brings this lunatic home, who's rather ineffectual as a villain. He's got to weigh about 100 pounds soaking wet, and he's just this cold fish.
Yeah.
But he gets right into this twisted family.
Yes.
Like he's been learning about them secretly or something.
Yes, and the lactating mum.
Oh yeah. She's a middle-aged woman, and everybody's naked in this movie. Everybody is naked again.
I noticed it in Japanese movie. I swear, it's not simulated sex.
Well, not in the movie we'll be talking about shortly.
Yeah, but this as well, it seemed to be the real thing.
No, I don't think it is. This one it is simulated, but it's so gruesome. It's so gruesome.
And the fact when he murders that girl.
Yeah. Who is like his producer at the TV station. He's trying to convince her that he's got a good idea for another series.
Yes, and she hears about what he's planning and just says no.
No, and yet shortly afterwards she's in the car with them working on the project. And then she says no again, and that's when he decides to, because they'd had an affair in the past, and he decides to rape her, and it winds up killing her like really easily.
And on the side, it's like really, on the side of this, right next to a dike of some sort.
With the mysterious visitor videotaping the rape and murder.
He's doing a lot of videotaping of what's going on in that family. Yeah. Then he kills her, takes her home, has his way with her, and actually, and this is a long, drawn-out scene, must last 20 minutes. And ends up getting stuck inside her.
Yes. A little rigor mortis starts setting in, and he's locked into the corpse.
And so the wife and his daughter, or his son...
No, it's just the wife, and the visitor is
the visitor helps.
Yeah.
They help take him into the bath and tries to... And they try to...
And then the mom runs off to the store and comes back with a carload of vinegar. And fills the tub with vinegar. But he only gets unlocked from the corpse when she injects him with her heroin.
Yeah.
And then that relaxes him enough that he slides out. But, it's just... I mean, it is supposed to be a black comedy. Again. It is supposed to be funny because it is so over the top.
It is the weirdest thing.
It is just one horrific thing after another. Not unlike the first Nekromantik. You know, I like the attitude. I'm not crazy about the subject matter.
No.
But they're trying for something here, and I get the most sick humor.
Yeah.
It's a gross out contest is what it is.
It is.
Yeah.
It is the sickest family you ever meet.
You know, Monty Python's Flying Circus had a series. It's their last year when John Cleese had left the series, and the 5 remaining guys did a series of 6 episodes just called Monty Python. They dropped the Flying Circus. And one of the lengthy sketches was a TV contest, Britain's Most Horrible Family Awards.
Uh-huh.
This family is worse than what Monty Python would dare show on TV.
Yes.
Even though their family's really horrible, these people are much, much more disgusting.
It is. Oh, and the mother goes off and shoots up every chance she gets.
Yeah.
She's helping her husband
dispose of the body. They cut it up into chunks.
And the visitor is just videotaping and commenting, and they all have some sort of association with him. Yeah. The son has a thing.
And the son being bullied. I love this. Every night, the bullies come to the house with fireworks, Roman candles, and blast these things in through the windows. They break out every night. The windows are repaired, and they break out all the windows and all the paper walls and stuff. Right? You know, it's amazing the place doesn't burn down every night. It's hilarious.
Didn't you like the fact that they're sitting there to dinner when this starts happening?
Yeah, the second time.
And the husband gets up, and he's grabbing his camera and screaming it, and the wife just continues to eat.
Yeah. And occasionally brushing embers out of her hair.
Yeah, some of the sparks are hitting her in the head, and she's just eating.
Very calm. Well, you know, when you're a junkie.
Oh, man.
Your main concern is your next shot, not so much, you know, that bullies are firing to your house. Oh, my goodness.
Anyway, onward and...
Yeah.
There's more people.
Next movie, just to round out the World War II axis of evil, this one comes from Italy. So we got German, Japanese, and here's an Italian entry. Beyond the Darkness, it's called. It's known by different titles, but it's U.S. title. From 1979, directed by Joe D'Amato, written by Ottavio Fabri, stars Kieran Cantor as Frank Weiler. Why they gave him an Anglo name, I don't really know. Cinzia Monreale as Anna and her twin sister Elena. Franca Stoppi as the quite remarkably villainous nanny Iris, who's looked after Frank since he was a small boy. Anna Cardini plays a victim who was a jogger, and Lucia Delia plays a victim who is a hitchhiker. Okay, so this movie, if I may, Mark, is about...
Please, go ahead.
Frank is a rich orphan. He lost his parents when he was fairly young, and he came into a lot of money.
And a big estate.
He's got a beautiful, beautiful big estate with farmlands and so on, and he has way too much time on his hands. His big hobby is taxidermy.
Yes.
The house, not unlike in Psycho, the house is filled with dead animals.
Yeah.
And we begin the movie with him receiving a mysterious package from a dude he knows, and he takes the box home, big box. He takes it home in his van, and he unloads it, and there's a big dead baboon in it. So, okay, he's getting closer to humans. Once you're stuffing whole baboons, I don't think humans are that far off.
A bad thing happens to him. His girlfriend dies.
Yes, that's right.
Anna dies.
Anna, his unbelievably skinny girlfriend.
And he decides...
And why does she die? How does she die? What kills her, Mark?
I can't...
Voodoo!
Oh, that's right.
The voodoo doll!
Yeah, Iris, his nanny or whatever.
His horrible, evil nanny. Who wants the power, wants to be his wife, you know, just doesn't want to be cut out of Frank's life.
Yeah.
She's got some witch at the beginning, and they're sticking pins into her.
That's right. And she's in the hospital dying slowly.
Yeah.
And nobody can figure out why she's dying.
That's right.
And Frank is there. Now, Frank happens to be prettier than all the girls in this movie.
Yeah, he is. But what a petulant, unpleasant-looking
Talk
man
about
he
80s style.
Yeah, it's sickening.
European 80s.
Yeah, disco. It's like disco clothes. Everybody
my God.
wears disco clothes.
His hair was gorgeous.
Yeah.
His lips perfectly. Yeah. He had to have lipstick on and makeup and blush.
Yeah.
The man was a woman.
Yes, he's not a nice woman, but so yes, his girlfriend dies, and so of course he digs her up shortly afterward, pickles her butt. Oh, and this I loved. Before she goes into the ground, he has a needle of taxidermy stuff,
special liquid,
and he injects her in 2 spots, in the neck and in her leg or belly or something. Now there's no circulation in the corpse, so this stuff wouldn't work anywhere except in those 2 spots. Mm-hmm. But, we're supposed to believe that he's a magic
we know this because
taxidermist.
we're going to talk about another movie that gives us all the details on embalming people.
Oh, yeah, but I wouldn't even say that. I mean, that's just obvious. It's an extremely badly thought out movie.
Yes.
Octavio Fabri should be shot.
I love the fact that he is still suckling on Iris's teat.
Yes.
Whenever he's upset,
and she's giving him handies whenever he feels sad.
Yeah.
They have an unhealthy relationship. She is really scary looking. She looks a bit like Cruella de Vil from the old cartoon.
Yeah,
she's got these horrible painted eyebrows that are about 3 times bigger than they ought to be. They go from like the top of the bridge of her nose over her eyes down to beside each eye, and she is so
desperate to be part of good old Frank's life that she actually invites a whole bunch of people over, and
they're her relatives.
And says, "I'm getting married to this guy."
Well, he said that he would marry her if she just doesn't blow the whistle on Anna and get rid of the corpse.
Yeah,
because he's still madly
in love. He's got it in a bed.
Body.
Upstairs,
next to his bed.
Yeah, they have a double
bed thing,
and he just covers her up with a nice blanket quilt.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, he has his way with it.
We never actually see Frank making love to his fiancee's corpse.
No, but you assume that's what's happening.
But what he likes to do is pick up women and bring them home and make love to them on his half of the bed while the corpse is in the open.
Yeah, and he's actually fondling both.
He wants to look at the dead woman while he's having sex with the live one. And of course the women freak out and he
kills them.
And easily too. Again, just like Visitor Q, all it takes is a rag held over the first poor victim's face and she's dead.
Yeah,
that's nice and simple.
And then we get to see the chore of chopping her up.
Oh, and I fast forwarded through that. I couldn't watch it. It's so boring.
Yeah, and Iris is doing the chopping.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. While he just watches and vomits. Oh, and there's a scene at the dinner table after they've cut up the large, rather chunky hitchhiker.
Yeah.
And it's well done. Like, I give him full marks for it. Looks like she's really dismembering this poor woman's body.
Yeah.
But they're having dinner and they're having stew, and the nanny is using a ladle to shove this slop into her mouth, and it's dribbling down her chin and spitting out of her mouth. She is got the worst table manners ever.
It's like angst again. It's
really disgusting.
It's the real close-up
of the
mouth
with the food being masticated. It already looks like vomit.
Yeah.
Oh God, that
they
was
just
disgusting.
Try to gross you out in so many different ways.
Yeah. And then of course Anna's twin sister, who Frank seems to have conveniently forgotten about entirely.
Yes.
She shows up at the house because now her school term is over and she's leaving the area, and she just wants to say goodbye to her brother-in-law or whatever. And Frank goes, "Oh yeah, Elena." And a fight breaks out between him and the nanny because the nanny just wants to kill her and horrify her with the corpse of her sister stuffed. And now the corpse is... The nanny gets her sitting in a chair. This corpse is evidently very flexible.
Yes.
So far as I know, you wouldn't be able to, pose any taxidermy thing once it's set. You have to pose it before you stuff it.
Yeah.
Fix it. Oh, it's so stupid. There's no rot to the body. I mean, this guy is the world's greatest taxidermist.
Yes. Yes, I think I'll be stuffed when I die too.
I want to be freeze dried and put on the mantelpiece. That's what I'm looking forward to.
It's the drying process that make you look like a prune, though.
Yes, well, it depends. Depends how it's done. Lennon, they figured out a way to I believe, used paraffin to replace the inside of all his cells. Same with Mao. All his, the wet inside his cells, the protoplasm, now they found a way to replace it with wax.
Oh.
It isn't permanent, but, you have to maintain the body, but it is.
You have to refrigerate it?
It looks pretty good. Not refrigerated, but it does need to be, moisture controlled, otherwise it'll mold.
Yeah.
I mean, things rot. Everything rots. All right, have we had enough of that one?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Okay, well, now our next movie, I remember... this is a 1976 movie called In the Realm of the Senses. This movie made a real big splash when it came out. It is still to this day a very controversial movie based on a true story that happened in
the 30s.
1936. Yeah. Written and directed by Nagisa Oshima. It stars, I'm just going to give you the two main actors. It stars Tatsuya Fuji as Kichizo Ishida, who owns an inn, and Aiko Matsuda as Sada Abi, who became his mistress. She was a woman who had been a prostitute and then came to work at the inn, and they become lovers, and things go downhill from there. They are so obsessed with each other sexually that their lovemaking starts to take a very dangerous turn, and they start using erotic asphyxiation on each other. He doesn't like to do it to her because I think he genuinely loves her.
Yeah.
And she may love him, but what she mostly loves is the thrills.
Right.
The sex, the illicit sex. And this is the most wild thing that she can come up with. And holy moly.
The big controversy is this art or is it pornography? Because
I suppose
they really, it's hardcore.
Yeah, like hardcore sex. It is not simulated.
And you wouldn't even see what they do in regular hardcore sex films. I mean, there are...
No, that's not true. That's not true. You see a hell of a lot more in X-rated videos. Yeah.
Well, this is done for art, though.
Well, and it is. I take the position that it is a worthwhile movie.
It's 90% sex.
Well, I would say 75%, but yeah, I take your point. It is, because it's about obsession.
Yeah.
That's what the movie is about, obsession.
I found it really interesting what kind of society was in pre-war Japan, where these masters could basically take anyone in the household
that's right.
and have sex with them, and they had no say.
Well, the women are unbelievably servile.
Yeah.
Unbelievably so. And even among themselves, a woman of slightly higher standing can do whatever she wants. She could kill one of the other servants and get away with it.
Yeah.
It's just their lives are so cheap. They're just dirt. And so as the Sada character goes along, she becomes more and more powerful, and she's beating on other servants and humiliating them and demanding that her lover rape them and stuff like that, which she does. And it is just one sick act after another.
Yeah.
And she's crazy. I mean, you have to admit, she's crazy right from the start. But he doesn't know how crazy she is.
It's like she's a nymphomaniac, and he is never soft.
He's a satyr. That's the male equivalent of a nymphomaniac.
Yeah, and they both can go at it forever.
Yeah.
And the thing is that she doesn't want anything to eat.
No.
It's like they're getting...
And you hardly ever see her sleep. You never see her sleep until the very, very end of the movie.
Yeah. And the reason she doesn't eat is because she says it makes you sleepy.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Because, they're in this place, and basically they're just going at it all the time, and you see women coming in and out, and they want to clean the room or supply them with more drinks.
Or play the horrible sounding banjos.
Yeah. Or sing to them or whatever.
The most awful thing about this movie to me was the awful traditional Japanese music. And I'm sorry to any Japanese who love that stuff or anyone who loves that music, but it is painful. It is this off-key singing with this twanging, out of tune, stupid little toy banjo thing. It is the most ugly music. Apart from Chinese opera, it is the most painful music I can think to listen to. It really is. I have no interest in it. I love like Indian music. I love that. I love most of the African music I've heard. But the music out of Japan and China, it's a different setup to the Western ears.
It is in a number of different societies, it's the same thing. They had these droning instruments so that they could make songs so that they could pass messages across the country.
Oh, okay.
It was literally a thing just to accompany the message.
Oh. Well, all these songs are all sweetness and light. They're about love, and they're about flowers and birds and eggs and stuff like that. It's all very sickly sweet, and ultimately the songs seem to mean very little, but this background noise constantly. And these two, I don't know if this really was the custom in Japan, but they're just going at it like rutting dogs. It doesn't matter who's in the room with them.
No.
It's just like, and all the women, the slave-like women, they sit around and sort of titter behind their hands or act shocked. And the hypocrisy of them saying, oh, you're a couple of perverts. And yet the woman who calls them perverts will sit and watch them.
Yeah.
It's very, very weird, because on the one hand, I get the idea that it doesn't matter that these servants are watching them make love, because the servants don't matter.
Yes.
They're not even humans.
Yes.
It's like having sex with the cat in the room.
Exactly.
It just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And it's so insulting. And the class system, this guy's only like an innkeeper.
Yeah.
It's not like he's royalty or something.
Yeah.
He's not powerful in any way, except he's not even making enough money. She still has to go out and turn tricks.
That's right.
She's got like a pet
I love the
professor.
fact that when she comes back from the principal, and he's old, and she makes his day, but really has to get into it. She has to start playing a role and things like that in order to get into it. Yeah. And then she brings the money home, and they're giddy.
Yeah.
Let's go spend the money.
Let's go spend the money. Let's go have fun. Yeah.
And more alcohol.
He does nothing but live for pleasure. She lives for nothing but sex.
As the movie goes on, they become more comatose, kind of.
Dulled.
They're slowing down. Yeah. That's what they have to get into, the more exotic asphyxia and stuff like that to keep it fresh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's getting boring.
It is. Yeah. She's getting bored.
And he is getting, less and less responsive.
Yeah.
It's a really weird movie.
It is.
Very weird.
It's very weird. As I say, I remember how controversial it was when it was new in the theaters. A lot of countries banned it and outright. When it first came to Canada, for example, the only province that allowed it to be shown in theaters was Quebec.
That's what I figured. I knew you were going to say that. I knew it.
And the Japanese, it was way beyond what would have been allowed to be filmed in Japan. It was filmed in Japan, but it was a French-Japanese co-production, and they got around the censorship laws simply by calling it a French production, and they wouldn't develop any of the footage that they shot in Japan. They sent it all back to France, where the movie was put together. So, they got around it that way because, as we all know, the French, anything goes. Evidently murder and necrophilia. So this movie, strictly speaking, not until the very, very end do we get a taste of necrophilia, but they're headed that way.
Yes.
Their obsession is headed that way.
Yeah,
so I thought it was
strangulation and all that.
Also, it's a beautiful movie. It has, high production values. It's a professionally made movie, unlike all these other ones that we've talked about, which to me are like amateur hour.
If you are not able to watch real sex on the screen.
This is not a movie for children.
No. It is so explicit that if you don't want to watch that kind of stuff, this isn't the movie for you.
This is like Caligula. Where they have like a real story. It's a real movie, but it has hardcore sex in it.
Yep.
Although they never made Peter O'Toole and Malcolm McDowell and Helen Mirren have hardcore sex in Caligula. All that was inserts from porn actors.
Right.
Just put in the background.
This one was the real deal.
This is the actors actually having sex. I was looking. They
keep relating it to Last Tangle in Paris.
Yeah, that's what IMDb suggests as if you like this, check this out. The sex in that is,
steamy.
It's steamy, but it's all off camera. It's all implied. You know what they're doing, but it's all implied. You don't see.
This one is no bars held back.
No holds barred, as
that's it.
Try to say, yeah. So I was reading up about it this morning online. Just watched it late last night, early this morning actually. And I was reading up a bit about it before the show today. It led me to another Wikipedia page about movies that have hardcore sex in them. And there really isn't that many. I mean, outside of actual pornography, but movies that tread the line where there is pornographic content, and pornography is always in the eye of the beholder. So, but this is right up there. Last Tango in Paris, for example, is not on that list because there isn't hardcore sex shown in that.
Yeah.
It's talked about, and in fact, the acts that go on there, you could arguably put that movie into this list because death haunts that movie constantly. But to me, it's more successful. It's a more, I don't know if enjoyable is the right word, but I was glad to have seen Last Tango. This one, I'm glad I finally watched it, but I'll never see it again. Yeah. I have watched Last Tango a second time, but I'll never watch this one again because mostly the music.
Well, then all you have to do is fast forward through it.
Yeah, or turn the sound off and just
it.
read the subtitles.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got two German, two Japanese, one Italian, and our last movie, of all things, is Canadian.
Made at UBC.
Yes, shot here in Greater Vancouver.
University of British Columbia.
So this movie is called Kissed, and it's certainly the first time that I ever saw Molly Parker, who has gone on to do so many good things. She was in Deadwood, and she's just been in a lot of really good movies. So this movie, made in 1996, directed by Lynn Stopkowicz, written by her and also Angus Fraser, stars Molly Parker as Sandra Larson, Peter Outerbridge as Matt, and Jay Brazeau as Mr. Wallace, the owner and part-time pervert at the local
Although
funeral home.
Although you never do see any evidence
No,
of that.
he's accused of it by another oddball who works at the mortuary at the funeral home.
Kind of like the fix-up guy. Or the
janitor. And he notices that Molly's character is a little too interested in the handsome young male corpses that come in, and he rightfully says to her, and she's not shy about her desires. She admits them to people.
Yeah.
If they ask, she tells them. So the janitor knows this. He's wiser than he looks with his wretched appearance. And he tells her that Mr. Wallace's kink is the little dead boys who come in. So that's gruesome. Anyway, we start with Molly Parker's character, Sandra, when she's a young girl, an adolescent. And we see her bizarre little self-made rituals to
dead things,
bury little dead animals, birds that have run into windows, and dead squirrels, whatever. She's not actively killing anything, but she's got a little ritual. She does that for some years, and once she's well into adolescence, she's an oddball, but she's got one girlfriend who's also odd, though not as odd as she is. And
she gets her into the burial stuff.
She gets into the little burial rituals.
But she doesn't realize what happens after she goes home.
Yes, that Sandra is really, really turned on by this. So, the two teenage girls have got a little bit of a physical love thing going on, as often happens with kids, I'm told. But
okay.
Adolescent boys and girls often, they don't know what the hell they're doing. Anyway, so when her friend finds out that Sandra is much more twisted than she at first thought, she abandons her, and now Sandra has no friends, and she grows up to be a rather lonely young woman.
Yes.
And what does she...
Still fascinated with death.
Yeah, what does she do? She leaves her dad's business, which he wants her to be in, and she goes and gets a job at the local funeral home.
Yeah, after going to a funeral.
Oh, well, God knows she's gone to a million funerals, probably, because it's like foreplay or something. But anyway, she gets in good with Mr. Wallace, Jay Brazeau's character. He's a terrific actor. He's a fixture in a lot of horror movies these days, in fact. And Peter Outerbridge, he's another young man who's almost prettier than the woman in the picture. Beautiful eyes, long, luscious eyelashes. He's quite pretty. Anyway,
he meets Sandra in a restaurant.
Yeah,
as she's
coffee shop.
She's studying at university.
Well, she's taking courses about embalming and
stuff like that.
Yeah, the funeral industry.
He's piqued his curiosity in what she's doing, and obviously attracted to her.
Yeah. Well, he's in pre-med, and I think they have a little bit of overlap there between mortuary practices.
He's actually taking a little time off from university.
Yeah, I get it. But see, I don't know if he's taking the time off, or maybe they've asked him to leave.
Maybe.
Because he has his own problems.
So he asks her, what does she find fascinating about the mortuary
about
business?
the business, yeah.
And she just blurts out, I like making love to these corpses.
Yeah, the dead bodies are...
And that just blows him away because she's so frank about it. And she's not trying to hide anything. And it really fascinates him.
Well, it meshes with his own madness.
And so they hook up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the thing is that she can't quite be satisfied with just him.
Not with a living
man.
And
it's driving him insane.
Yeah, yeah.
He can't
More insane.
He can't figure out why she prefers corpses over him.
Yeah. He follows her one night and discovers that after they've been making love, after what to him should be enough, she's going back to the funeral home and
capping her night
and having her orgasms with dead guys.
Yeah.
So he wants in on this. He says, well, at least let me come and watch.
And she says no.
And she says, no, that's my thing.
Now, the thing with her ritual is that she actually experiences sort of a life essence that comes off these bodies.
Oh, it's quite mystical to her.
Yeah, and she literally experiences a beyond the world experience. Yeah. You know, it's almost like she's going towards the light every single time.
Yeah.
It's like the bodies aren't vacant until she does her little ritual with them, and they become empty vessels after that because she doesn't go back.
No, she doesn't keep them.
No,
she doesn't drag them home or anything horrible like that.
Not like the other movies.
She just climbs on the slab at the mortuary and
she tries to explain this experience to him, and he wants to experience that.
Yeah, he wants in on it.
At first, it's like, can I watch? No. He starts dressing himself up like a corpse.
Oh, he puts the makeup on? That is hilarious.
Yeah, and she's watching him, and she's getting very concerned.
Well, she's getting creeped out. Even she is getting creeped out by his insanity.
Yeah.
His obsession.
And so finally, after arguing with her and breaking up and getting back together and all this discourse, he decides, well, the only way he can experience this with her is if he kills himself.
Yeah.
And he does.
Yeah, oh yeah. This is the only one of the movies that I had seen previously, and it's the only movie that I enjoyed watching. Molly Parker is terrific, Peter Outerbridge is terrific, Jay Brazeau is terrific. Everybody does a stellar job, and this is not a movie about the turn-on of corpses. This is a movie about one person's obsession. Actually, two people's obsession.
Yes. Yeah. But she's actually experiencing something as well. It's not just,
disgusting.
Yeah.
To her,
and it's tastefully done.
Yeah, it is.
You don't see too much.
No, she's half naked or naked a couple of times, but it's by no means hardcore.
No.
If you're a Molly Parker fan, hey, she's beautiful. Corpses don't appreciate her, but we do.
It's the most tastefully of all the movies, I think, that we watched.
And the most stylish,
I'm not going to say that it's for everybody's taste.
Oh, heck no.
Obviously not. I was surprised to find out it was a university movie.
Right.
It got funding by the government.
Yeah.
Our government will fund almost anything.
Well, they used to. Now they're trying to kill the movie industry in BC. So, okay, let's just quickly and distastefully review the movies. Nekromantik, the 1988 movie from Germany. I would say if you want a real belly laugh of a gross-out movie, I would say this is fun. Again, get your friends together, drink too much, do whatever, and you'll laugh your butt off at this stupid movie.
I watched it alone and sober, and I did not enjoy it much.
Oh, that's too bad.
I did not enjoy this movie.
What I did was I killed a bunch of hitchhikers and brought them home and set them up in the living room. We enjoyed the hell out of it.
If you do that. I mean, who wouldn't?
I think neither of us enjoyed Nekromantik 2, which is, oh God, like
he got away from what his original mood was and went into the shock factor.
Yeah, and tried to take it seriously, and it's just sick. Visitor Q is, like I say, it's like a David Lynch sort of Eraserhead movie on steroids and Japanese
porno version.
Yeah.
I found it fascinating.
Right.
again, it's disturbing.
You sure don't know where it's going to go.
No.
But the most horrible family in all of Asia.
Yeah.
Beyond the Darkness, the Italian movie, I thought was just terrible. Although it held my interest. I had to watch it in a couple of goes, but it held my interest.
I just thought
I didn't think the acting was very good.
No, and I thought
dubbed into English in a most awkward and terrible way.
I don't
chintzy.
think I saw the dub version.
No, I did. Yeah.
It looked like 1980s.
Oh yeah.
Sitcom kind of.
It was 1979, so right
on
there.
The cusp.
Yeah, just awful.
The fact that he looked pretty, I couldn't get it. I just couldn't take him seriously.
Yeah, no, that's right. So that's Beyond the Darkness. In the Realm of the Senses, Japanese movie from 1976. Now, the version that we saw is in the Criterion Collection.
Yeah,
and the
right.
Criterion Collection are supposed to be great artistic triumphs.
Yeah.
And I have to say that it's such an unpleasant story that I didn't really enjoy it. I'm glad I saw it. Turn the volume down and read the subtitles unless you want to hear the non-stop Japanese music. You know, there's lots of stuff in there. There's a scene near the end of the movie when the male lover is walking along the street and a whole big gang of Japanese soldiers goes walking by. And by that time, by 1936, the Japanese were at least readying to go into Manchuria and China just start one of the most hideous slaughters that has ever occurred on Earth. I mean, in the Japanese nature, at that time, I won't say today, but at that time, they were at least as sick as what the Germans did in World War II.
Yep.
They're just as sick as the Nazis were.
They literally just massacred places.
The first use of germ warfare, I believe, in the modern sense of it, was in China at that time, Manchuria, which was a separate country. But, you know, so interesting, and it's trying to be more than it is, and it is a fictionalized version of a true story. Sada Abe, the woman, became a folk hero.
Yes.
Afterwards, because she, of course, bucked the trend of being the little wilting, baby-voiced Japanese woman. So she was like, pardon the expression, liberated. And kissed. And I think we both agree that that's a good movie.
It is. It's, again, very odd movie. I mean, these are all disturbing movies.
Oh, they are, very much.
All
it's a disturbing subject.
As disturbances go, this one was more tolerable.
Yeah. While that's her kink, it's not as if the movie dwells on making love to corpses.
No,
constantly.
not like Nekromantik. Where they're sucking the eyeballs out of corpses. God, my God.
Yeah. Okay, folks, so I think Mark and I are going to go and rinse our eyes and mouths out with bleach.
I'm taking a long shower.
Yeah. Feel kind of grotty now. So
I hope you enjoyed it.
Yes, and if you did, please,
you're sick.
Please don't let us know because we don't want to hear from you. If you didn't like it,
we can accept that.
Yeah, neither did we. So we apologize for this episode. And
Jerry made me do it.
And we won't do it again. We're done with the Necro movies.
Never do a search on Necrophilia.
Oh, boy.
Again.
I feel exhausted. I feel dead.
That's what Google can do to you.
Yeah, indeed it does. Yeah, okay. All right, folks, so it's...